Hey, if you're listening to this, thanks for stopping by. My name is Jarrett, and I run the More Than Blockchain podcast. Now, before the podcast rebranded its name to More Than Blockchain, it was entitled Wi-Fi and Water. And so this episode was originally recorded under the podcast's original name. Episodes 1 through 13 were recorded under the name Wi-Fi and Water. And so if you're hearing this, that's why. Please enjoy the episode, and thanks for checking out the More Than Blockchain podcast. NFTs are changing the way we engage with and understand art, community, money, and much more. On episode 57, we broke down what NFTs are and further discussed their social utility with Brendan Gillen. On this episode, we're going to look at the parallels between early online video gaming culture and the current NFT boom, and how they're both using the technology of the day to build global reaching online or digitally based communities. Today's guest is Crypto Bushi, or CB as some call him. Crypto Bushi will be the pod's first pseudo-anonymous guest, and he'll share with us how he's building community, creating art, and leveraging all of his perceived wasted skills he gained as a young online gamer in this new landscape of NFTs and Web3. I'm Jarrett Carpenter, and this is Wi-Fi and Water. Crypto Bushi, welcome to Wi-Fi and Water. How you doing?
Good. What's up? GM.
GM, everybody. Exactly. GM, for those of you who don't know, means good morning. And actually, do you want to talk about the genesis of that? Because I only recently learned about that. When I say recent, like in the last month, I've been trying to do that as much as possible on Twitter, especially.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from or who like coined it, but it's just become a meme now. So now, like pretty much when I address anybody in the Web3 world, I'm just like GM. And it doesn't matter if it's like 12 at night or if it's like actually morning. If everybody just addresses themselves or addresses everybody else as GM, which is kind of cool. It's like a nice, like wholesome way to like say hi to somebody nowadays. It's kind of like that's like the vibe now. So
I feel like, and I've never been to Hawaii, but I was just hanging out with a friend who has lived in Hawaii and wants to get back there with his wife and his child. And I feel like it's like the aloha of Web3, because at any time you can use it, and in any context, it's like totally fine.
Yeah, if people understand what it is, because if not, then they think you're saying like Jim. Who's Jim?
So go along to pick up on that. And I know that we just talked about this off recording. Talk to me about crypto. Obviously, I can get. I'm able to get that much. But Bushi, tell me more about the history of that and why that's your name.
Yeah, so I started like a pseudo anonymous Twitter account, and once I like discovered NFTs and like this wonderful world of like crypto art and all that stuff, and I like used one of my old like pseudonyms or that like I used to like game under, like a gamer tag sort of vibe, right? I started to like post stuff that I thought was cool, and I wasn't getting much engagement. And then like I started to really lean heavily into this whole like anti-bank, like crypto is gonna like overthrow like, you know, the financial system. It's gonna like be the end of the traditional financial world eventually. And I still believe that. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe I should like lean in even heavier on this. Like maybe I should create like a persona that like really like encompasses like my art and kind of my whole attitude. And so I just created this new Twitter account one day, and I used to be really into jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I need to get back into that, by the way. The best physical activity ever. So fun. But either way, Brazilian jiu-jitsu has a lot of like heritage that comes from Japan. And so I was big into like learning like the Japanese culture and stuff like that in regards to jiu-jitsu. And one word that struck out to me kind of early on was this word Bushi. And Bushi like loosely translates to like samurai or warrior in Japanese. And so when I was making my profile to wage war against the financial system of the world, I was like, okay, I have to be the crypto samurai or the crypto warrior, but the crypto samurai was already taken on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be crypto Bushi. And it's cool, but the problem is nobody knows what it means, and half people call me crypto Bushy, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, not Bushy. But that's where it came from. So it's been a cool name. But now most people just call me CB because they're too lazy to say crypto. So
Yeah, I'm one of those people that read it phonetically in English and not thinking that it was beyond English, potentially with a different pronunciation. So I'm definitely one of the people that fall into that. You had mentioned gaming, and I think gaming, I know that I really want to talk to you about this, especially because I will be honest, I'm fairly gaming agnostic. Growing up as a kid, my parents just didn't let me have games. So when Crash Bandicoot came out on PS2 or GoldenEye came out on what's that, N64, I remember going to my friends' houses into their basements to play that because it was like an illicit activity that I couldn't really do at my own home. And so fast forward to today, and I'm on LinkedIn, and there was a thread talking about, what's going to happen with NFTs and gaming and ownership. And it's a really great thread. And I was reading through the comments, and there's a guy there who, I'm not going to say his name, I don't really remember his name, but he says, under his name, let's say it's Joe Schmo. It said something like gaming developer. And then he just said NFTs are a scam. And they are, quote, a scam and a theft. Well, I can't see your shirt now. I can see it says NFTs are a scam. Exactly that whole thing. And so I thought it was something kind of funny like your shirt. And I just said, yeah, man, they're a total scam. None of them are worth anything. And then he kind of came back, and we've gone back and forth now. I'm just trying to lead with questions now that I realize it wasn't sarcastic. So to him and to anyone getting into NFTs, especially via gaming, what's the conversation there that you would have about where the value lies?
I think anytime there's new innovation in the world, there's always a lot of pushback. And like, we've already seen this happen. Like, it just repeats itself all the time, and people are just like ignorant to it for some reason. But like, and maybe that's just because people just are too like zoomed in to the now, and they don't ever like zoom out and look at like how life was before. It's just kind of silly. But, first of all, I would say that like NFTs and crypto falls into that category of like massively disrupting technology, right? And so whenever there's a massive disruption coming, you have a lot of people that fight against it, and it's kind of funny to see some of the people who are like leading the charge against it, like creators themselves. It's just kind of silly, like a game developer not wanting to get into crypto. But, one thing I'll say is that like, yes, NFTs and everything like that is not perfect yet, but neither was the internet when it was invented. Neither was electricity or central gas or central heating and stuff like that in people's houses. Like stuff that we take for granted now, like refrigerators, dishwashers, stuff like that. Like all that stuff used to actually like kill people because it wasn't refined yet. And so you had a bunch of people pushing back during the Victorian era on electricity, calling it dangerous, and it's going to be like it's going to be bad for the society. And now look at us, we all live with electricity. And so I think the same thing's happening again. I think people are going to push back, but in the end of the day, I think it's one of those technologies that is just going to like cement itself in time. So that would be like my first argument to people like that. Second, to do with games, gaming is interesting because I grew up like the opposite of you. I grew up pretty much living my life on games, and it was kind of a product of like I was a single child, I guess. I mean, I have like stepbrothers and stuff, but they were all so much older than me. So I was like, they were already like graduated college and stuff back when I was in like middle school. And so I was basically a single child, and I came from like a divorced household. And so like I lived with my mom, and my mom was going through her own stuff. And so I would come home from school, and like I would basically like entertain myself. I would play games. I played like a lot of RuneScape, a lot of World of Warcraft, stuff like that. And so I literally like grew up on these platforms. And I had a lot of friends like you who would come over to my house, and that was like their like time to escape and like play like Nintendo 64 and stuff like that. And that was always a lot of fun. But the one thing that I'm noticing a lot right now is I'm seeing like a lot of massive correlations between the early communities that spawned from gaming and the early communities that are spawning from NFTs. I think it's like literally like almost like an exact replica. It's really interesting. And what I mean by that is like, I was playing these games, like I was playing Counter-Strike 1.6 and Counter-Strike Source, like both, Counter-Strike Global Operations is probably one of the world's most popular games right now. And I'd been playing that probably, 12 years ago, back when in the early days, very small community was playing. And I was kind of a part of this whole revolution of gamers streaming their gameplay live on like Twitch. And back in the day, that was called Justin TV. It wasn't even called Twitch. And I remember like, it was funny because I would spend like so much time watching these like professional, like I'll put it in air quotes, like professional gaming events. And they were like so low quality. And like, there were all these like clans, like gaming. And I used to watch them religiously, like people watch sports. And I didn't really know at the time, like how big it was going to get, but because I used to talk to my dad about it and stuff. And my dad was obviously like I used to tell him like, oh, I want to be a professional video gamer and stuff. And this was back in like the 90s and when it was unheard of. Right. And so, of course my dad was like, oh no, that's stupid. You can't do that for a living, like yada, yada, yada. Well, fast forward to now, like look at like this massive like thing that has happened. I mean, you have like tons of professional video gamers that are either, professional through winning tournaments and winning money, or they're like streamers, or they're like YouTube personalities. I mean, this whole like digital revolution spawned, and I got to be a part of that and like watch it happen. And I think it's happening again right now with NFTs. I really do. It just, there's so many different correlations. And I'm probably getting a little off topic from your original question, but that like, I just keep making this like, I don't know. I just keep thinking back to like the original days of like when I was in like World of Warcraft guilds, and we would like organize these like 60-man raids on like Discord, and or early days, even before Discord, we used to use like TeamSpeak and Ventrilo. And these like guilds would act like modern day DAOs, like today, like what we see today. They were basically like professional organizations, like very professional. Like these people would, this was like their life. Like they would go to work, they'd come home, and they'd play World of Warcraft all night. Like that was their life outside of work. And maybe in most cases they were probably better at World of Warcraft than they were in real life. Like they were more successful in this video game world than they actually were in their actual life. And so it was like an escape for them. And what I find really interesting though is that like, and this is probably the most interesting, and this is why I disagree with a lot of influencers who are in the NFT space. These people were living their life on these video games with no potential for monetary gain. Like they were literally there because they chose to be there, because it made them happy. They're passionate. Like they were developing friendships. They were, some of them were even meeting their future wives. I actually know people who met on World of Warcraft and got married. And so those people, they formed these communities that were like so tight knit, like such a strong bond. And it was such a major part of their life. And again, they made no money from it. Like these people still had to work normal jobs. Half of them were spending lots of money. Like you had to, pay for subscriptions. So, I mean, these people were paying to play these games. And I mean, that same story has been replicated a million times. We've seen it like on MMORPGs. We've seen it on Final Fantasy. We've seen it on RuneScape. We've seen it on World of Warcraft, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, et cetera, et cetera. Kids are living their lives on video games. And really, in my opinion, they're living their life in the metaverse. And so what's interesting now is we're creating these communities where they're very much like the early days of like guilds on World of Warcraft and stuff like that, but they're DAOs now. And these people operate and communicate just like they did in their old, ways playing video games, except now these people can actually make money. And so like, I feel like right now what I'm doing, I feel like all of my years of quote unquote wasting my time, wasting my life on video games has actually set me up to be a massive success in this new world. Because for some people, it's weird for them to like make new friends and communicate online and stuff like that, like people they don't know. For me, it's not, because I've been doing it my whole life. And so now it's basically like when I log on to like the computer, when I get on Twitter or I get on Discord to like go interact with people in the different DAOs I'm a part of, or, like basically go to work, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm playing a video game. Which is weird. And what's even funnier is it's almost like your bank account or your wallet is like your score. Like it's literally a game. Like we are part of a game right now. And all the people that are in the game are, you have some people that have higher scores than others. And usually that's a product of them being in the game longer and getting more experience in the game. And so it's really interesting. Like this whole revolution that we've seen like over the past year, I've completely changed like my outlook on money. I've changed my outlook on happiness, on work. I mean, I've redefined everything. And it's really all because of NFTs. And that's why I love wearing the shirt. The shirt says NFTs are a scam. And people always ask me, like, I'm at a shared office right now. And every time I walk by people, I can like sense their eyes like staring at my shirt. people are like, oh, why do you think they're a scam? It's like, they're not a scam. It's a reverse psychology. It's just, it's like fun to troll people. But that's where I find the most interest in this space right now, is this correlation between like the very successful communities have spawned off of video games and are now happening in crypto.
So you spoke a little bit about how this new space, Web3, the metaverse, NFTs, just how it's all kind of coming together really quite quickly. I feel, I don't know, every single day I get online and I learn something new for sure. If I sit on Twitter for 5 minutes, I learn something new, which is really exciting from someone who likes to be a student. I think I really gain a lot more value from that than being like a quote teacher, if you will. And you said that it has helped you redefine work in the sense that now it's just kind of like a game. And you also said it's helped you redefine happiness and money. Can you speak more about that? I'm very interested to hear what you got to say on those, because I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I think where I redefined money is, so I came from like a like small business acquisition background where I helped investors buy and sell small businesses, like family owned stuff. And I worked in like a very small geographic area. And so I was like only exposed to like what was going on in that market. Right. And so like what I would quote unquote think is like a large deal, might actually be large, or might actually be like microscopic in comparison to like maybe other geographic sectors and stuff that I didn't know about. Right. And so like before I got into crypto, obviously I had a definition in my head of like what rich is, or like what real money is. But once I got into crypto and I really started to realize like, holy shit, like there's a lot of people out there with a lot of money, like a lot of money. And what's cool about crypto is it's public. I mean, literally, like I can go snoop into people's wallets if I want. Like if I'm interested to see who's buying up all of like the Habbo NFTs that I like, I can go snoop in their wallet, and like I'm surprised sometimes. Like sometimes I run into wallets that have like $15 million sitting in it. And I mean, again, let's put it in perspective. Like no rich person is going to put 90% of their net worth into crypto. So I mean, let's just be conservative and say maybe they're batshit crazy and they put 10% of their wealth into crypto. I mean, if they got 15 mil sitting in a wallet, I mean, how much real money do they have? And that's just liquid assets. What about illiquid assets that, potentially could yield even way more? I mean, and once I started to really like see like, oh my God, there's so many people out there with so much money, and they're transacting it like a lot too. Like in crypto, like, people are like surprised by these NFT sales at like 30 grand or 20 grand. And like, yeah, that's a lot of money, but there's a lot of millionaires out there. Like there's a lot of millionaires, and they're playing in this space right now. And that's where I go back to the video game analogy. Like if you are in NFTs right now, and if this is a game, you are a player in like a game that some of the world's richest people are also playing. And so you have a chance to potentially beat out one of those rich people. And it's a zero sum game here. So if if you win big, then like it's a transfer of wealth, and it's happening. And it's, so that's really where it changed my perception on the value of money. Like I've started to realize that like, okay, what I think is a lot of money in reality is not a lot of money. And also I've started to realize that, you know what, like it's not impossible to become rich very quickly. And I want to say like, doing it in the right way, obviously. But like in this space in crypto, if you make the right decisions, and you make the right decisions over and over again, you can go from pretty like basic level income to like monumental in terms of the rest of the world pretty quickly. And I mean, show me any other business in the world that you can do that. I don't think it exists. This is like the most interesting asset class that I've ever seen. And I was heavy into real estate. I was heavy into like business brokerage and that type of stuff. And those people over there think they're killing it with their returns, but it's got like nothing on these returns. So that's really why I said it redefined the way I look at money. And then work, it redefined the way I looked at work, because I don't know, I've always worked for myself, and I guess I always kind of had in the back of my mind that like, oh, I guess I need to like do like what, I guess I need to like follow society's path of like what that looks like. And even then I was kind of weird because I was like selling businesses, which is like a really, really odd way to make money. But it was still like, somewhat of a normal thing in relation to like what I do now. But like what I've realized is like I can actually like sit around, make cool art, make stuff that I like, make memes and make money and survive and like feed my family and make good money too. And it's like I think that that's so powerful. And so I've always worked with entrepreneurs, and I've always really felt like, we live in one of the most exciting times in history, especially if you live in the United States. Like if you live in the United States, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, you can literally do whatever you want. It really is just a matter of like figuring out how to make it work. And I think crypto kind of just propels that even more, in my opinion, because it's like I said, like instead of like coming up with a business idea that's like web 2 and having to go seek seed rounds and all that stuff, and you're pre-revenue for a long time in crypto, if you have a good enough idea, you can go from like idea to really profitable really fast, like Uniswap. I mean, Uniswap, Hayden Adams didn't even know how to code. He taught himself how to code after he quit his job or got laid off or something like that. And then he ends up building like the world's biggest decentralized banking system. And their treasury has like billions of dollars in it. I think like hundreds of billions.
I didn't know that story, and you just set me up for a long rabbit hole on YouTube and probably Substack for the afternoon.
Yeah, well, and think about that. Like if Hayden Adams was like, yo, I'm going to build a bank in the traditional world. Like, no, there's no way you're going to make a bank. Like there's no way. But, he in crypto, he was like, I'm going to make a bank. And then a decentralized bank. And then he does. And it's just like this kid, he like didn't even know how to code. Like he just started learning Solidity on his own. And like, I don't want to discount him. Obviously he's very smart, but like, I think the way that like he's done these interviews is he's not like some savant, not like he's like Rain Man or anything. Like he's just a normal person. He's just smart. He just figured it out. It wasn't like he like was born like, some ridiculous mastermind coder or anything. Like I think he was like an engineer or something. Just like, it's just a normal smart person.
You were talking about art, and I see that you have artwork behind you, and I'm assuming that that's yours. And you recently just posted this gauntlet on Twitter, and I'm excited to now talk about it. This may be actually your first time talking about it on a public forum, I guess you could say. But it says, I'm just going to read the tweet. It says, make a new piece of art every day for 365 days. All the income from the art goes into a vault. If the artist misses a day, the funds are dispersed evenly amongst the collectors. If the artist makes it to 365 days, all the funds are released to the artist. So it would kind of, so let me just understand this. You're going to make art potentially every day for the next year. And I'm going to, if I want to buy a piece of the art, basically my money would go into something that's kind of like a escrow, if we're thinking of like TradFi or traditional finance. And then or am I wrong? Like, how does this work? Have you started? And where can people get this art?
Yeah. So I guess if the SEC is watching this is not a security.
Oh yeah. I really hope the SEC is deep in the Wi-Fi and water. That's when I know I've hit some.
Yeah, no, that's a good problem. Yeah. So it was kind of like a drunk thought last night, to be honest. So, cause I was thinking, I was like, this whole art today movement is not new. Like it's definitely been a thing. I mean, we have it like in the art community all the time. Like you have like a new typeface a day, or like they have like redefining numbers and shapes a day, stuff like that. And Beeple is like best known for doing a piece of art every single day for like 12 years or something. He's done that. And he's one of the most popular digital artists out there, Beeple. And he's actually the one who had the record $69 million sale, which was basically all of his everyday pieces, like batched into like one kind of like art piece. So like somebody basically bought like all those years of hard work. So that's the thing. Like, it's funny because people are like, oh my God, this guy sold an NFT for $69 million. Like, I'm going to do that. It's like, no, dude. He fucking made a new piece of art like every day, never missed a day for like 12 years. Like, that's not like, he didn't just do nothing like that. He earned that $69 million. Like, that was like blood, sweat, and tears. He has children and stuff. I mean, like literally, like he never missed a day. So, I mean, that's super respectable. And so I was thinking, I've been thinking for a while, and I've talked to some of my other artist friends. Like, I would love to do that challenge because, and people says that it's like one of the best things he ever did. Not even monetarily. He said it's the best thing he ever did as an artist, because sometimes as an artist, you get like writer's block. I mean, you get like locked in your head, or you're always trying to push the barrier. And especially like my art style, like I'm more of a 3D, a generalist artist. And the problem with 3D is that like, if you want to level up your 3D, you're talking about like some heavy stuff. Like you're rendering animations, you're leveling up by creating more. And sometimes that's hard because like you just want to put a piece out there. You don't want to spend 50 hours on it. You know what I mean? You just want to like do something for the day. And I've learned more and more that like the pieces I'm making are just taking too long. Like I need to like do other stuff. So I've really been playing with this idea of like doing a new piece of art every single day. And I'm the type of person though where I'll say like, oh, this is a great idea, I'm gonna do it. But if I have no like incentive, like I'm just gonna fall off the wagon. Like it's gonna be so fast. And I think a lot of artists do. Like a lot of people do try this. Another thing that I see a lot of is this 100 days of code, where people want to learn how to code, and so they'll code every day for 100 days. A lot of people fall off that. I fell off that too. I was doing that for a while. Never finished my 100 days. So I was thinking, I was like, what if we made it to where like, okay, you make a piece of art every single day, you mint it on Polygon layer 2 because it's cheap. And then, maybe you set the price pretty low just so people can buy it if they want. And then all the money goes into like a shared wallet, like a multi-sig wallet. And if the artist misses a day or breaks one of the rules, let's say there's a rule set, maybe you build in like 5 days extra or something that the artist has as like a bye week or something. I don't know. And then, if the artist breaks any of the rules set forth, then all funds are then relinquished to the collectors evenly. And if the artist doesn't break the rules and like basically wins the challenge, then the artist gets all the money. And I was thinking it'd be fun because it's like now you're creating this element where people can participate with you. Like everybody, like people who are buying a piece of art from you, not only like are they supporting you and they're happy, but it's almost like they're part of the game now. Like they're gonna wake up every day and be like, okay, did Crypto Bushi put his piece out? Like I'm watching. And then it'd get even more interesting if the treasury grew, obviously. I mean, like, it'd be super interesting if the treasury was like $1 million. If it was $1 million, I mean, split amongst what, 365 people. I mean, how much money is that? Like that's a shit ton of money, right?
It's, what, 3,500 each, something like that?
Yeah, like like $2,700 each.
Sure, yeah, like 3K.
Yeah, and so like it's just super cool of a concept that I was thinking about. And I told another couple artists I know here in person, and they're getting into the NFT space. I was talking to them today, but they were like, yeah, well, people love to see other people fail. So I think you'd have a lot of people that'd be interested in watching that for sure. And so I was thinking that might be a great idea. Like I haven't seen anyone do that. And so it's very Web3 in my opinion. It like utilizes the power of the NFT. I mean, basically it's super easy, like to see who holds the NFT at the time of either it failing or not. And so I love the concept. I really want to do it. I feel like I'm just like putting my own nail in my coffin though, unfortunately, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I'm working on some rules. I think I'm going to do it. I'm trying to figure out like what makes sense.
Just so I understand. So I buy a piece of your artwork and I, you pay $1,000 on Polygon or whatever it is, however much the price is. That money will start to accrue, as you're saying, and maybe it's up to $500,000. In the event that you finish, you would get all the money. You finish 365 pieces of art, you get the money. In the event that you don't, stay 364 and you go out real late and you get drunk and you forget and a whole day goes by and you don't do it, then I would not only keep the art, but I would get a chunk of the treasury, which could actually be more money than I had originally invested, depending upon the market and other things being equal. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly.
No, has anyone else ever done this?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Crazy. And I was thinking about it too. Like I was thinking maybe what I could do is I could set up a multi-sig wallet, and I'll set it up as a 3-4, which basically would mean that there's four signers on the wallet, but only 3 people need to agree to push a transaction. And so what I was thinking about doing is I could basically find 3 of my like most trusted friends, and who are really unrelated to each other. They don't really know each other very well. They only know through me. And so what I would do basically is tell them like, look, if I do fail following these rules, then you have permission to disperse funds. And so even I can't stop it. It'd basically be a situation where like, if they see it, then they're like, hey dude, sorry, but like, yeah, you broke the rule. And then I can't even, it's trustless at that point. Like they don't have to trust, nobody has to trust me. They just have to trust that my 3 confidants would do the right thing.
Well, I'm in. Whenever you start, I will definitely buy one of the pieces of art.
Well, I think I'm going to do like the first 20 for like free. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put out the first 20 for free on Polygon, just get it going. And then and then go from there, and then just start putting out stuff for money and see what happens.
And would all these pieces of art follow a consistent kind of look and feel? Or do you think there's going to be like day 183 and you're just going to go out and take a picture of you, like a selfie, and being like, guys, this is art? Or it's just you and your NFTs are a scam in the middle of a parking lot? Like, have you thought about it?
Yeah. So I was thinking like a very easy rule would be like no photography. Cause I do like photography, but that's like an easy one to like keep out any of that crap. Right. So I'll say no photography. It has to be original, and it has to be one of one. And by original, I mean, it has to be by the artist, right? So it has to be by me. And if it's not photography, then that leaves open a bunch of mediums. But then I would say like mixed mediums are allowed. And so what I mean by that is like, if I want to like paint something, or if I want to like paint something, take a picture of the painting, bring it into Photoshop and like throw other elements on top of it, I can do that. Really, I think the rules have to be low enough to where I can like make a piece within less than an hour a day, because I can't like, I can't make a masterpiece 360 days a year. But it has to be enough to where, yeah, like it's not like an obvious cop out, right? And so like one thing that I really enjoy right now, or I haven't been doing it, but I used to really enjoy, is making art on my VR headset. And so they have 3D software on VR headsets on the Oculus where you can like make stuff in the 3D space, and it's so fun. I mean, you're now like using your body parts, like your arms and your movement of your body, to like create different things, and it's really cool to do that. And sometimes though it looks very basic, like when you're done, like it looks very basic. And so the piece I'm going to release today is like, it's a very basic piece. Like it looks basic, it looks simple, but like at its core though, it's like it's made in a VR headset, and it's made from like movement and stuff like that. So it's actually more complex than people would think. And so I want to like explore, I want to jump outside of my comfort zone. I really don't want to focus on like 3D modeling or anything like that, because that takes too long. No animation. I'm really thinking about building out of my VR headset, like paint, Photoshop, stuff like that. Just having fun, like making it easy. Like, yeah, none of the stuff you guys are going to see are going to be masterpieces, but I mean, sometimes the stuff that's the most simple is sometimes the most desired. So you never know. But I'm not going to like push myself to be like, oh yeah, this is like my best work ever, like every day. I just can't do that. So I'm going to set the bar low. So today I'm going to post the first piece, and I think I'm just going to name it 0. But yeah, it's basic. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. But again, if you can, I challenge other people. Like if you want to show me like, what basic doesn't look like, well, then let's do it with me, and do the same model and do it for 365 days, and let's see it.
So if somebody listening wants to see 0 and then eventually 1, 2, 3, all the way up ideally to 364, 365, where can they go, and where can people follow you? Is Twitter? I didn't look and see if you're on Instagram, but where are the places where people can follow you if they want to get in touch and check out your art?
Yeah, Twitter for sure. I'm sure you'll put a link there, but it's at the Crypto Bushi on Twitter. And then Instagram too. I don't really use Instagram. Instagram's kind of web too, but I'll probably post the one of days on Instagram, try to like grow a following over there. But yeah, Twitter's the best place. And then I'll post links up there, and I'm going to see. I mean, I'm already kind of off the wagon, which is scary, because I said I was going to mint it this morning, but I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance. So now it's like 3:00 and I still haven't done but I have till 12:15 or 11:59. So technically I'm okay.
Technically, you're still good. These are the type of things in Web3 that I'm really excited about. And I have a friend who is part of Psychedelics Anonymous, and he has 4 whole sets. And we were talking last night, and he may want to sell one of his sets, but I said, hey, instead of selling one of your sets, what if you created 10 or 20 NFTs so people could have fractional ownership of that one Psychedelic Anonymous sets? Because getting one whole set now is almost $25,000 or something like that, which can be a lot for people who are just coming in. But if someone came in, maybe $2,500 or a tenth of 25,000 might be more kind of approachable, and somebody could wrap their mind around that. But like you said, we saw a CryptoPunk sell for $24 million the other day. And so it's just kind of like, it is redefining money in the NFT space.
Yeah, it is. I think there's millions of millionaires out there, everybody. So we're not talking about like when they say 1%er, I mean, 1% of the world's population is like a shit ton.
It's a shit ton of people.
And there's probably hundreds of thousands of billionaires. So, and that's why I've always laughed. It's like people think that CryptoPunks won't go up, and like Bored Apes and stuff. It's like, well, there's only 10,000 CryptoPunks. And so if every billionaire in the world says that in order to be a real billionaire, you got to own a CryptoPunk, well, there's not enough of them to go around. So it kind of becomes a real big shooting match at that point.
Exactly. Well, thanks for hopping on, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the whole journey goes.
Yes, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I'll be interested to listen back to this, and hopefully in the next 12 months, I will be listening back to this and cashing out my vault.
Exactly. This is day zero. Maybe I'll call the name day zero with crypto Bushi.
Yeah. Well, now I'm have to do it because I'm telling everybody about it. It was just a drunk thought, but I'm oh.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode, and be sure to follow Crypto Bushi at The Crypto Bushi on Twitter and Instagram for updates on his 365-day digital art journey. As always, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and wherever you're listening to the pod, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Finally, if you got value from this episode, please send the link to a friend who you think would also benefit and/or find this content interesting. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Hey, it's Jared again. The episode you just listened to was originally recorded under the podcast's first name, Wi-Fi and Water. So please disregard those follow shoutouts and be sure to follow us on social media under our newly rebranded name, More Than Blockchain. And be sure to subscribe to the pod wherever you're listening to it. Thanks for checking out this episode, and I'll see you next time.